grow their knowledge outside the classroom, and coin collectors converge on a free event in Parsons, Kansas. KOAM News at 10. Next. Now at 10, Pitt State begins preparations for 3 projects the school says will have significant regional impact. Plus, Carthage floriculture students are using the skills they've learned and applying to the real world. And a testing lab closure led to the rescue of nearly 60 beagles. We'll tell you how they're doing 1 year later.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Prep work begins on the campus of PSU for some major upgrades. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Anthony Saviello. The site just off South Rouse Avenue will feature 3 distinct projects the school says will have significant regional impact. One will feature a regional crime center and laboratory operated by the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. Completion of this facility is scheduled for spring of 2027. The site will also feature a prove-out facility operated by the National Institute for Material Advancement. This area will be designed to test materials for large-scale business production for local and regional entrepreneurs. Completion of this facility is also scheduled for 2027. The third area will feature a brand new Eagle Pitcher manufacturing facility. This facility is scheduled for completion by the end of this year. This is a developing story. We'll have more details on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, as they become available. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at weather.
Well, roads are starting to look pretty clear, though we do have a lot of snow still on the ground. Now, that's not going to change over the weekend, but we are seeing clouds, a little bit of drizzle that's going to continue overnight and into early tomorrow morning, along with winds shifting. So we've got winds gusting out of the south 20-25 miles per hour, but here comes that wind shift early in the morning to early afternoon. That's coming in right around noon. As that wind shift moves in, winds out of the north and wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, along with a little bit of rain. So we're seeing this like drizzle, just light sprinkles through the morning hours, but a spike right around 10-11 a.m. That's where our heavier rain is going to start to move in. And at the tail end of this system moving in, we're actually going to see a little bit of snow flurries, a little light dusting out in our eastern and southeastern counties, plus a greater chance for snow and cold weather next week. I'm going to have those details coming up.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Baxter Springs, Kansas has a new assistant police chief. Corky Hicks is a Columbus, Kansas graduate. He started his law enforcement career in 2013 with the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office and then served the Columbus and Galena communities with the police department. In 2017, he was named the Traffic Safety Officer of the Year by the Galena Police Department. And last year, he joined the Baxter Springs Police Department, where he was promoted to detective in December before now becoming the city's new assistant police chief, a role he's now active in. Carthage High School floriculture students are busy all year creating bouquet arrangements, and this time of year during Valentine's Day is especially busy. Today they're delivering bouquets they made door to door at Carthage High School and even to others outside of school. In their floriculture class, they learned to make everything from boutonnieres to corsages to bud vases. 2 floriculture students are even taking what they've learned in class and bringing it to the real world. One of the students makes bouquets for her family business, and another student was inspired to work for a local flower shop where she can continue honing her skills.
Learning how to make like your basic bow for your arrangement, and then we moved on to a bud vase, which is just like a singular flower with some greenery.
Emma says she hopes to study horticulture in college and continue working with plants. The Toy Scout crew, also seen on MeTV, is in town at the Homewood Suite in Joplin. The event is looking for individuals who want to trade in unwanted vintage toys and collectibles from the 1980s and older. Each customer will sit with the representative to negotiate a price for the item, and if an agreement is reached, they will be paid a cash reward.
Also buy gold. And we buy old coins from 1964 and older. We buy old gold class rings. If you have a class ring that you got when you were in high school or anything, and it's gold, we buy those. And we also do old advertising. We do old Coke signs, old beer signs.
Schreifer says you can also go to toyscout.com to get more information on what items the company buys. The Parsons Coin Club hopes the public can cash in on a free coin appraisal. Appropriately enough, the event took place at the Labette Bank today and offered the public a chance to bring in their old coins, currency, and related items for identification and evaluation.
Almost all of my life, certainly all of my adult life, I've been active as a collector and dealer. I love the history of the old coins and just the idea that something's been in your pocket and perhaps somebody famous held that coin, or that it has some other type of tie to history is very, very fascinating. So.
The Parsons Coin Club meets on the third Thursday evening of each month at the Senior Center. Area coin collectors are invited to attend. An animal advocacy group is celebrating 1 year since helping shut down a major testing laboratory in Nowata, Oklahoma. The Beagle Freedom Project announced today is the anniversary of Freedom Fields, a 30-acre animal sanctuary and rehabilitation center. Today also featured the launch of the Bring Them Home campaign in support of 55 laboratory-tested beagles in need of medical care. The day also featured a ribbon cutting for a brand new cat cafe hosted by influencer Nathan the Cat Lady. An 86-year-old Missouri man pleads guilty to shooting an unarmed black teenager who knocked on his door by accident. That story is coming up, but up first.
The president signs an executive order on school funding and COVID vaccine mandates. I'm Erica Brown at the White House with that and the president's latest tariff threat, sparking concerns of higher prices on American consumers.
President Trump is at his Florida home this weekend, but before leaving the White House, he signed executive orders and made several consequential announcements. Erica Brown has the latest.
This is a very big bill.
From the Oval Office, President Trump reiterated one of his top priorities.
We want to downsize government, but make it better.
Friday, more federal workers were notified of layoffs, including more than 400 employees with the Department of Homeland Security and nearly 1,300 employees at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about 1/10 of the agency's workforce. The Department of Health and Human Services is bracing for cuts to nearly all of their 5,200 probationary employees. The efforts to dramatically shrink the federal workforce sparked protests in Boston and D.C.
That solves that problem.
The president also signed an executive order that cuts federal funding for schools that require COVID vaccines, although no states have mandates currently in effect. In the Oval Office, President Trump also discussed his plans to impose a new auto tariff on U.S. trade partners beginning in April. This comes in addition to the reciprocal tariffs proposed Thursday that would raise U.S. import taxes to match those levied by other countries.
The tariffs are going to save a lot of industries.
But many economists say tariffs will be an indirect tax on American consumers.
This will send shockwaves through the world economy, and that's before you price in the fact that other countries will feel need to retaliate.
Vice President Vance and Ukrainian President Zelensky met in Munich at a security conference Friday as President Trump pushed a peace deal to end Russia's war with Ukraine. The vice president also denounced European leaders' stance on free speech.
In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat.
Germany's defense minister said Vance's comments comparing Europe with authoritarian regimes were unacceptable. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
The Trump administration blocked the Associated Press from traveling with Trump on Air Force One and from covering today's event in the Oval Office. It's part of an ongoing dispute. The new organization says it will continue to use Gulf of Mexico in its reporting and not the Trump name change to Gulf of America. An 86-year-old Kansas City man pleads guilty today to a lesser charge in the 2023 shooting of a Black honor student who rang his doorbell by mistake. Andrew Lester was scheduled to stand trial next week on charges of first-degree assault and armed criminal action. Lester's attorney has argued his client acted in self-defense and was terrified of the stranger who knocked on his door. The prosecutor in the case said today the plea itself is not enough.
A plea by itself is not enough, right? Justice is the victim having their voice heard. It's presenting evidence to the court and having a just sentence rendered, right? So the entire process is justice. This is an important next step in that process, but the process is not yet complete.
The victim, then 16-year-old Ralph Yarl, said he was on his way to pick up his brothers, but an address mix-up led him to the wrong house. When Jarl knocked on the door, Lester shot him once in the head and once in the arm. Lester could now face up to 7 years in prison. State lawmakers in Missouri are making another attempt to pass the Second Amendment Preservation Act that stops police from enforcing some federal gun laws. It became law in 2021, but a federal court ruled it unconstitutional in August. Now it appears it may be making a comeback, but some, including some in law enforcement, have expressed concerns. Eric Lovelace reports.
And there are a lot of people in our state who feel like the federal government's got too powerful, that it's gone too far.
That's Republican Representative Bill Hardwick, who is sponsoring round 2 of the Second Amendment Preservation Act. He says he's written around what the court ruled was unconstitutional.
What we do is we kind of matched up with the Senate version.
Okay.
Both the House and Senate have the same version.
Okay.
And kind of make it clean and simpler.
However, House Democrat David Smith disagrees.
The old SAPA is moving its way through the courts right now, so it's too early to file another one until we find out what's going on with the original.
Smith opposes both versions of this bill.
Basically handcuffing local law enforcement. So why are we coming in and telling them they cannot? We're actually taking away the freedom of counties and states in Missouri.
Sheriff departments and police departments have spoken against this legislation, including Sheriff David Parrish of Lewis County, speaking at a hearing late last month.
This type of legislation will hamper and create major obstacles for our officers and our deputies throughout the state to go and catch these bad guys.
Additionally, other law enforcement agencies have pointed to issues the law creates when working with federal agencies. Captain Brian Lear of the Boone County Sheriff's Office echoed this in our past reporting, saying, quote, "We fully support the Second Amendment, but the reality of the law was that it severely hurt our ability to cooperatively work with the ATF to address criminals committing violent crime." And Columbia Police Chief Jill Schluty referenced SAPA when talking about CPD's recent purchase of a new gun ID technology, saying, quote, "We had this piece of technology a few years ago, and then the Second Amendment Preservation Act was passed by the state legislature. And that really impacted our relationships with our federal partners."
If passed, Missouri would join a handful of other states with Second Amendment protection laws, including Kansas. A little later, a blood donation center reaches out to the 4 states to help during the winter months.
And we have a couple more chances of rain and snow. I'm going to have those details coming up.
I was involved in Missouri.
Well, it was cold and then we had a nicer day today, but unfortunately it's not long lived. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Overcast skies today that continue into tonight, along with winds still gusting up to 30 miles per hour. So we've had a little bit of drizzle off in the southern part of our viewing area, but also, we're going to see temperatures warming up. Today, we got up to the mid-40s. Tomorrow, we're going to get up to low 50s, upper 40s, but we have another cold front coming through on Sunday. That's going to drop our temperatures back down into the upper 20s, so it's going to be pretty cold. Saturday, you can see our highs. Northern counties not really getting into the 40s, but we're still going to be in the 30s, especially out there. Iola, Yates Center, Chanute, Neodesha, but further south, southeast we go. Warmer. We're going to be in the low 50s. Now we have got those northerly winds following that front. We're going to see temperatures drop down into the teens on Sunday, and then heading out into Sunday afternoon, we're only getting into the mid-20s, so it is going to be pretty cold, especially on Sunday. However, we're also seeing a little bit of rain and snow on Saturday along that cold front. So we've got a lot of drizzle through most of the overnight hours into Saturday and into the early morning to mid-morning hours, but by 9:30, starting to see some heavier rain showers forming out in the western counties. Developing maybe some thunderstorms, especially out in the northeast Nevada area, maybe making it out to Pittsburgh and Joplin by about 2 p.m. Passing Joplin, continuing to move east, but after that front moves out of the way, a little bit of rain and snow develops, mostly just seeing that snow and rain, not ice, but as temperatures do drop late into the evening, we're only about 6:30 and we're seeing temperatures dropping below freezing. So as this snow passes, very brief snow, temperatures fall below the 30s, and that's going to cause all of the rain that we just saw to freeze, especially if it's on the roadways or sidewalks. So that's going to be a concern as we head into Sunday morning. The snow, not so much on Saturday because we're really only seeing a light dusting, especially out in the east. Missouri, Arkansas are going to be our main concerns, but really just a light dusting. And after that, not much. Now, for the rest of the weekend, looking pretty good, although those colder temperatures on Sunday, it's going to be sunny, so whatever does freeze over in the morning will likely melt because of the sunshine. But our big system coming in Tuesday the 18th, that's this upcoming Tuesday, 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's where we're going to see the big snow start. 3 a.m. continues until about 11, but we do still see some flurries out into early Wednesday morning. It is a possible alert day right now due to the heavy snow accumulation. Now, amounts are still a little bit variable. We're going back and forth as the models continue to kind of solidify what's going to go on Tuesday. However, timing and the certainty that we are seeing quite a bit of snow accumulation is pretty confident on that. Now, it is a huge Arctic blast as well, so following the snowfall on Tuesday, temperatures plummet down to the teens for the highs, the single digits to below zero for the lows, and wind chill values in the negatives. And when I mean negatives, I mean minus 20 to 25 degrees. That's what it's going to feel like Tuesday night through Thursday night. So you can see how those temperatures drop following that big system coming in on Tuesday. So a lot of snow. A lot of that will stay on the ground well into the week, probably until about Saturday, when we're going to start to see some solid melting taking place. Until then, it's going to be a warmer day tomorrow, but still a little rainy, so you can't really enjoy it. It's just going to be gross for the next week, cold.
Make a snowman while you can, maybe?
Well, with the snow next week, it's going to be so fluffy, you can't make a snowman.
That's fair.
Unfortunately.
Right. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, Community Blood Center of the Ozarks says winter weather is hindering blood donations. Several area blood drives have been canceled due to winter weather, and more are expected. Reports say local hospital blood reserves are remaining stable, but further cancellations could hinder the supply even more. Well, still ahead, Missouri Southern baseball plays a doubleheader against Drury, and Galena boys basketball tries to remain undefeated. John Dale says those stories and more up next.
Switch over to
Missouri Southern baseball was supposed to play on its home field this afternoon. In fact, several teams were at the MSSU Lion Classic, but after a couple of different adjustments to their schedule because of weather, Lions instead have a doubleheader in Springfield. Southern opts to play a two-game doubleheader against Drury. First one, 5-1 Lion victory. Cole Gaiman gets the win on the mound with 8 strikeouts and 6 2/3 innings of work. The Lions, though, dropped the second end of the doubleheader 9-3. That drops Southern's record to 6-2 on the season. They're going to face Missouri S&T at home on Monday. Well, Missouri Southern softball also with some adjustments to its schedule this weekend. That'd be a common theme right now for a lot of our teams. Lions were supposed to play several games throughout the whole weekend. That, though, gets switched to a doubleheader only this afternoon. Southern gets shut out 1-0 by Southern Arkansas in Game 1. However, the Lions beat Southwestern Oklahoma State 10-6 in their second game of the evening. And it's the final home game of this regular season for Galena High School basketball. Bulldogs play host to Colgan, second meeting of the year between them. Colgan girls basketball enters this game as the #1 team in Class 2A. Galena looking to pull off the upset on its home floor. And a good start for Galena. Riley Boys steps back and knocks down this high arcing jumper for 3. That gives Galena the lead, but Colgan strikes right back. Lauren O'Brien firing away for 3, and she drains it. This game would go back and forth in the first quarter. Now here's Riley Boys, set up on the inbounds play, and she gets it to go again, this time from the corner for 3. Galena using that 3 ball early on, but Colgan starting to hit its stride in the second quarter. Jacayla Davis comes flying in for the steal. She goes the other way and gets the wide open layup. Second half, more of Davis. She knocks down a mid-range jumper here. And then Davis again on the fast break hits another layup. Colgan creates plenty of separation in that second half. Lady Panthers win big, 64-27. Now to the boys' game. Senior night for Galena. They face Colgan. Bulldogs are undefeated coming into this one. First points of the game belong to Jack Perry as he drains the 3 ball from right about straight away, but Colgan keeps it close in the first half. Karsten Simmons drives the lane for the layup. That bucket ties it. Closing minutes of the first quarter. Nice pick and roll play here, and the senior Jack LaTurner with an easy 2. Towards the end of the first half, Zane Adams starts to heat up. This 3, nothing but net from the wing. A few possessions later, really nice pass. How about this from Perry? Back out to Adams, and he connects on another triple. Galena starting to pull away in the second half. Really nice sequence here. Lincoln Kimberling saves it from going out of play. And then Thatcher Botkin, right place, right time. He drains the jumper. Galena remains undefeated. Bulldogs defeat Colgan 49-40. Both of those teams that won tonight, the Colgan girls, the Galena boys, a couple of the best teams in the state in their respective classes.
And so Galena remains undefeated, and Colgan girls move to...
They have just one loss on the year,
All right.
16-1.
Very impressive. We'll be right back.
Fall in love with
Four-state hero.
In case you didn't notice, today is Valentine's Day. It's not just a holiday for significant others. You can show affection to friends, family, and of course your pets. Today, some 180 million cards are exchanged each year, and florists ready nearly 2 million roses for the day. The average person is expected to spend more than $100 showing their loved ones with gifts. So I didn't spend that much, but I'm sure someone else did.
You know, my dogs didn't get anything for Valentine's Day, so.
I don't think they'll hold it against you.
I hope they don't. But you know what they will hold against me? These really cold temperatures next week. Until then, we're going to see nicer temperatures. 50 degrees on Saturday, though. It's going to be a little rainy, a little snowy, colder on Sunday, but sunny. A little warmer Monday. But that Arctic blast hits us Tuesday, possible alert day because of the snow, and then freezing temperatures after that.
And I don't hold the fact that you didn't give me anything for Valentine's Day, John, but
I appreciate it.
Yeah, what do we have in sports?
High school basketball playoffs actually get started already as soon as tomorrow down in Oklahoma. Fairland has the girls team playing at 6 and then the boys team at 7:30, both against Quapaw.
All right, best of luck to them. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.